One of our guys who used to be here on a regular basis because he was a local radio guy too, kind of a local icon named Les Worden. He operates primarily out of his home in Ocracoke. Yeah. I think he's got his own home studio, but he kind of was between him and Peter Pope, one of our producers here, who used to work with me at the first station I worked at right across the street. They kind of were the ones that kind of got me in the door. Said, hey, you gotta try Eric out, and came in a couple of times and was thrown out twice. Third time was that proverbial charm.
Does that happen a lot?
I don't know. I think I was really lucky to get another chance. I think.
What'd you do, or what'd they do?
You know, I think because I'm a radio guy, they tend to think that radio people are just going to be the radio guy. All they can do is the announcer tag that says not available in stores.
Right.
So, but then we also had opportunities to do character stuff periodically, and they'd say, why don't you throw Eric in there? And it was just kind of nice that eventually they could see that there was more to me than just the guy that does the tag at the end. I was told, well, they get paid the same as the guy that talks for 55 seconds about crazy stuff.
Right.
But it was such a great thing when there was a union strike a number of years ago. I want to say, when was that, like 12, 13 years ago now?
I think so.
And what happened was suddenly agencies that needed talent for their national commercials couldn't use the talent in LA and New York and Chicago and all that. So they had to find it somewhere, and we ended up getting tons of auditions.
That's a real toe in the door.
It was awesome. We hoped that there would be longer lasting relationships built from that, what ended up being a 3-month strike. But, it opened doors for us here because I think everybody was like cattle call every day for auditions for everything and anything. We even had a coat closet that was converted to an added studio just because we had so many people coming in to audition for all these lucrative gigs. And what it did for me, though, it allowed the people in casting at Studio Center to see that Eric did more than just the announcer parts.
Yeah, yeah.
And that really, it changed everything for me. I guess, what develops more along time is the relationships you have with the clients and the agencies that they employ that hire you, because a lot of the agencies that work for the major companies, they're going to be hired to do the creative, and they've got to find the voices, and somehow we end up in an audition process. And then once you finally get the gig, if it happens to be one, I was like the voice of Value City Furniture for, 10 years, on and off for almost a decade. That's crazy. But if it weren't for the relationship and the rapport that you build up with the producer who knows what he's going to get when you come into the studio, even though you never actually see them, at least rarely, that really, I think, is a part of the building process too. So I'm still doing a lot of announcing, probably doing more, character stuff than I ever did before, and certainly the stuff that I'm doing on a national basis has increased exponentially over the years. Kind of, I would hope, has to. It's kind of nice. Last night I was sitting at my couch and watching ESPN, and on comes a spot for Shock Top beer, and this spot was produced just before the NCAA started, and the Shockers of Wichita State were doing very well, so Shock Top was advertising a lot when they played, just because of the name association. But it's a really cool spot. It talks about these guys who wanted to have a beer at the highest bar in the world. If you've seen the spot, it's pretty beautiful.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
I'm the announcer at the end, and so and our roles will be anything from you'd love to be a central part of the spot, but oftentimes we're the accent, we're the sell, we're the tagline at the end. And so, but I'm satisfied with that. A lot of the more local and regional stuff we'll do, where we get to be characters. Those national TV spots.
I was going to ask, do you get to do character voices too?
Yeah, but we've got guys who do it like so well. Like they should be cartoon voices for Pixar. We've all got voices inside of us, and I think if you're a parent,
you got a voice inside of you because you're going to entertain your little kid somehow. And you're going to talk. It's amazing when a voice you do ends up putting your kid through college.
That's my favorite voice.
But it actually happened. I ended up being the voice of the little chicken for Bojangles Chicken on TV. I never saw the spots because they ran primarily in Charlotte, where they're king down there. But they had a campaign that ran for a couple of years. It was a little finger puppet. Well, it was a finger with a beak, with no wings. And he was very self-deprecating and really kind of down on his luck. And I'm just a lowly old chicken. And I used to use his voice to put my kid to bed all the time. But you know, eventually you get an audition that says, try to sound a little bit like you're down on your luck, and suddenly you're going, oh, I've got that voice right here in my back pocket, and now I'm the voice of Bojangles.